Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants Graham Potter to replace Erik ten Hag. Now, this is the biggest rumor flying around in global football. Now, I'll tell you, with Manchester United, never take any rumors lightly. Never take any rumor for granted. I'll tell you that it started as a rumor that Marwan Fellaini would join United. He went on and joined us. It started as a rumor that United was going to sign Wout Weghorst on loan. My goodness, Weghorst also in his CV has Manchester United in there. So, guys, let's talk about this rumor with seriousness. Now, Graham Potter has been without a job since earlier this year when he was sacked by Chelsea just after barely a year in charge. Potter had made his name from coaching at Ostersund, where he was credited for his different style of coaching, because he was even telling his players, encouraging them to go out in music productions and movies and try, to socialize and find other ways of motivating them to be different as players. And it worked for him because it grew him, went on to coach teams like Swansea and Brighton, where I think he got the most attention of the world. I remember Pep Guardiola praising him, saying he was a big fan of him. I remember saying because of how his players played with freedom and expressed themselves. Henrik Larsson one time also praised him for how he's good at switching formations. His team start with one formation, they end halfway the game they're playing another formation, then at the end of the game they're also playing a whole different formation, and every player knows what to do. We saw that with the small teams when he was at Swansea, when he was at Brighton, when he got to Chelsea. A few times we saw some bit of good patterns with his team, but the thing with a big team, a big club is, and that's exactly what Erik ten Hag is facing at Manchester United, is you're not teaching players how to play football. You're managing players. Is Potter a manager? He failed to manage players at Chelsea. Would you want a guy who failed to manage Chelsea, a smaller club than Man United, to manage Man United in a transition? That's a question for you. But also, you think about where we are now as Manchester United. We are all complaining and worrying and losing faith in Erik ten Hag, a man who last season came and lifted our hopes high through the rooftops. Now we are going down in terms of hope. We are saying we are not good enough. We want something new. We are bringing in a new man in charge of football in Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and the first report is that he's going for a Chelsea reject, a failure at Chelsea. Is that the kind of energy we would want to start with in this rebuilding that we've been excited about as United supporters? Is Potter a manager who will give you goosebumps in your stomach saying, we're excited to see what's going to happen? Because right now, finally, we've solved part of our big problem we've had, the football problem. That's a question for you to ponder about and debate. Why is Manchester United pointing at such a guy? And guys, could be true and serious. Whereas there are talks that, and I heard Fabrizio Romano denying anything to do with Erik ten Hag being booted out, because Fabrizio is saying that the board right now is the key thing for Sir Jim Ratcliffe and co, which should be the right thing. You start with the board that gives direction. But already, if as that is happening, because United doesn't have so much time, we have to do a lot of things in situ. We have to handle a lot of things at one time. So Manchester United is obviously handling the coaching situation. Of course, the thing with a team like United is, if you're not winning, even if Erik ten Hag could be in the long term a good manager for United, United has got to have immediate targets, and immediate targets mean you've got to be winning games. So if United is losing games at Old Trafford for fun, the fans are raging, are furious. Old Trafford is becoming empty halfway through the game. Obviously, you won't think about the long term. Fans want to see something promising for the immediate. Now, that's where I think the talk of Erik ten Hag being sacked, of course, makes sense, because at Manchester United, you don't lose games for fun at Old Trafford to teams like Bournemouth, Newcastle, Man City, and Bayern. It doesn't happen. You don't break records dubiously at Old Trafford, and you live with it because of long-term plans. So the talk of Erik ten Hag being sacked actually does make sense. There is a reason to believe that ten Hag could be sacked, but the replacement then has become a problem. Manchester United needs a manager who is going to come. So obviously, pointing at a person like Graham Potter means United is trying to go the direction of Newcastle. Get a manager who is not so established, but they are good. Potter is a good coach. Potter, I think, knows football. He knows how to teach players how to play. But is that what you need? Manchester United does not need players who are going to be taught how to play football. Manchester United needs a person who is going to manage the institution. And Graham Potter is too small to manage the institution of Manchester United. So for me, that rumor I will bin it with immediate, with the contempt it deserves, because not that Potter is a bad coach, but because he cannot be the right manager for Manchester United for this transition. The supporters will not back him. People will be disappointed in Sir Jim. Already, people have not been so excited about the whole takeover and how it turned out to end in the hands of Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Yet at some point, it looked clear and obvious that Sheikh Jassim, who many wanted, was taking over United. So Jim Ratcliffe comes in, and the first thing he's doing is pointing at a Graham Potter, a Chelsea reject, to come and replace Erik Ten Hag, who led us third in the way he did last season. It doesn't make sense. So there's got to be a lot of thinking and repondering to do if these rumors are true, if really they do, hold some bit of water. But people have even, by the way, pointed at Potter. He's quite highly rated in England. And of course, this is what the British media does. Yes, we've seen Potter and how good he is. But people have even said he's a BBC at some point actually said he's a potential next England manager. And I'm thinking, okay, really, really. So for me, Potter should be a manager, a small team manager. Yes, maybe because of how he plays, maybe you can understand why clubs would want to try him because of how his teams have clearly played different with nobodies. But the thing is, with big clubs, it's not about the playing. The players are not going to be taught how to play football. They have learned a lot of things, and you just need to manage them and get them giving you results. And for United, Manchester United is never about the style of play being interesting and exciting and passing the ball in all forms of ways. No, Manchester United is about character and winning. That is it. You won't change that culture. Even Sir Jim Ratcliffe, I know, knows that before you come and try to get a direction, a style for a team, you've got to go into the roots, because United is not a Man City that is an upcoming club, a new club that needed Pep Guardiola to give them a proper identity. Before they had Mancini, Pellegrini, who and who. They had all forms of coaches, everyone playing their way, but they were just playing to win. But Pep Guardiola gave them an identity that you probably think they will be playing like they will follow even after him. Manchester United was given an identity by Sir Alex Ferguson, and that identity won so many fans over. So the people we support Man United not because of playing very nice, attractive football, but because of the character of a Manchester United player, the character of Man United, the never say die attitude, fight till the end, the power of the comebacks, the directness, the desire, the fight, the spirit, the oomph, the drive. So is Potter the kind of manager who is going to get players giving you that fight? Does he pass on that energy to players? I don't think so. So Potter for Ten Hag, for me, is a big no. Subscribe. We've rebranded. We are the United Hotspot now. People are saying, it's just the hotspot. It's confusing. Well, guys, here you go. It is the United Hotspot. And this is exactly where you get all the solid opinions that many of you think about but are shy to say. I will say them to you here on the United Hotspot. And the next one, of course, will be about this whole Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his leadership. This seems to be questionable. I'll talk about it in a bit. Subscribe. I'll catch you later.